The galaxy was a masterpiece of diversity, a place where crystalline beings sang in symphonies of light, aquatic civilizations sculpted their cities from living coral, and hive minds danced in synchronized thought. Yet, amid this splendor, one flaw threatened to tear it apart: the inability to truly communicate. Universal translators, heralded as the pinnacle of technological ingenuity, were rife with limitations. They reduced rich cultural languages into functional but shallow approximations. Misinterpretations were frequent, and crucial subtleties were often lost. The result? Diplomacy marred by confusion, trade agreements derailed by mistranslation, and wars sparked by innocuous phrases. The Galactic Assembly had hoped to overcome these issues, bringing representatives of over 100 species together to form a united governing body. But its meetings were often chaotic. Every attempt at resolving disputes led to new misunderstandings, making cooperation seem impossible. When humanity, a young species new to interstellar civilization, joined the assembly, the galaxy barely noticed. Little did they know, this unassuming species would forever alter the course of galactic history. Dr. Alara Vance, Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Assembly, stepped into the towering assembly hall on Serena Prime with awe and trepidation. The chamber was enormous, designed to accommodate species of every size and shape. Enormous screens displayed translations of the ongoing debates, but they struggled to keep up with the cacophony of languages, clicks, whistles, and even bursts of light. Alara quickly realized the problem was deeper than words. The assembly was not a collaboration, it was a battleground. Delegates shouted over each other, their frustration growing with every failed attempt to communicate. The representatives of the Skrin and the Heracei, a pheromone-based species, and a bioluminescent one, had nearly come to blows, unable to even acknowledge each other's modes of expression. Madness, Alara muttered. How can anyone expect progress in this chaos? Her human colleagues had warned her about the assembly's dysfunction, but seeing it firsthand was overwhelming. However, as a trained linguist and anthropologist, Alara also saw potential. Beneath the disorder lay a deep yearning for connection. Back on Earth, Alara retreated to her study and began to outline a solution. Humanity's greatest strength, she believed, was its ability to adapt and connect. While other species relied on technological precision or cultural rigidity, humans thrived in ambiguity, often finding innovative solutions to seemingly intractable problems. Her research brought her to a startling realization: words were not the answer. Language was too deeply rooted in culture, physiology, and environment to ever be universal. But gestures, simple, primal movements, transcended those barriers. Humanity had long communicated through gestures, from prehistoric cave dwellers signaling across vast plains to modern astronauts using hand signals in the vacuum of space. Alara theorized that this could be expanded into a universal sign language, a system based on fundamental concepts like peace, danger, welcome, and trade. She assembled a team of Earth's brightest linguists, neuroscientists, and cultural historians. Together, they developed the first draft of the Galactic Gestural Interface Protocol, or GGIP. Alara's first test subject was a Zorathian diplomat named Vrexthar, whose species was known for their fiery tempers and rigid cultural protocols. The Zorathians were infamous in the assembly for their frequent walkouts and duels over perceived slights. When Vrexthar entered the human embassy, Alara greeted him not with words but with a carefully chosen gesture, an open palm pressed to her chest, followed by a slight bow. In human terms, it symbolized respect and peace. To her astonishment, Vrexthar returned the gesture, his antennae quivering in approval. Later, he explained that a similar motion in Zorathian culture conveyed mutual acknowledgement. For the first time, a Zorathian felt understood without a translator's mediation. Encouraged by this success, Alara expanded her testing. She worked with aquatic Drazeans, whose movements in water conveyed their emotions, and the massive Kurthak, an insectoid species that communicated through vibrations and mandible clicks. Each species found ways to adapt GGIP gestures to their physiology and cultural norms. Not everyone welcomed GGIP. The Grath, a militaristic species with a history of conquest, dismissed it as a crutch for the weak. The technologically advanced Krell scoffed, arguing that their superior translators rendered the system obsolete. But Alara was undeterred. She hosted demonstrations, inviting skeptics to witness interspecies conversations made possible through gestures. At one such event, a Skrin diplomat successfully negotiated a trade agreement with a HFY representative, an unprecedented achievement that left even the most cynical observers in awe. To address concerns about cultural erasure, Alara emphasized that GGIP was not meant to replace native languages but to serve as a bridge. It's not about losing identity, she explained, but finding common ground. The turning point came when humanity hosted a grand summit on Earth, inviting all assembly members to participate in a week-long workshop on GGIP. Delegates arrived from across the galaxy, some curious, others skeptical. The summit began with small exercises, gestures for basic concepts like welcome, danger, and gratitude. By the second day, species that had never been able to communicate directly were holding rudimentary conversations. By the end of the week, delegates were collaborating on shared projects, from scientific research to cultural exchanges. Even the Grath softened their stance when they witnessed a young Grathling effortlessly use GGIP to befriend a human child. Within a decade, the Galactic Assembly formally adopted GGIP as its official auxiliary language. Assembly sessions transformed from chaotic shouting matches into harmonious debates. Trade flourished, and scientific advancements accelerated as species shared their knowledge without barriers. Humanity earned its place as the galaxy's bridge builders not through power or technology, but through empathy and ingenuity. Alara became a revered figure, her name synonymous with unity. Statues of her were erected on countless worlds, depicting her iconic gesture of peace, a hand pressed to the chest, followed by an open palm. Years later, on the anniversary of GGIP's adoption, Alara stood on the balcony of the Galactic Peace Academy in New Sol City. Below her, holograms displayed scenes of interspecies cooperation, a Skrin teaching a Drazaean child, a Zorathian sharing art with a Kurthak artisan, and a Grath commander using GGIP to rally a joint task force against a galactic threat. As she watched, a young Zorathian approached her, mimicking the gesture of gratitude. Alara returned it, her heart swelling with pride. The galaxy had been vast and divided, but with the simplest gestures, humanity had shown it the way to unity.